Hello boxing fans, today we're talking about Michael Katsidis versus Ricky Burns. The fight's happening in Wembley Arena, London, so Ricky Burns has a slight home advantage. Getting straight into it now with Ricky Burns, he's a former super featherweight world champion, defended the title 4 times, against lower opposition but still defended the title, which is good enough for me. He's fought some good opposition. He's got 2 losses out of his 34 fights. And the 2 losses are to Carl Johansson and, of course, the other one being Alex Arthur. He's obviously improved dramatically since his last defeats, and he's beat people such as Roman Martinez, who was rated as the best super featherweight in the division until he lost. And since then, he's decided to move up instead of fighting Broner, which is probably a good business decision, really. Another notable victory would include beating Graham Earl in only his 10th fight. Moving on to Katsidis now, and I think this is the Katsidis last hurrah. He's a great boxer, great puncher, similar to Marcus Maidana but more technical. I like him really, he's quite good, he gives it all, and when you think about some of the other people who don't give it all, he's a good guy to watch really. He's lost 2 of his last 6 fights, both to great opposition. Robert Guerrero and Juan Manuel Marquez beat him. He beat Kevin Mitchell recently, and he also has lost to Juan Diaz, which is a bit, and Raul Casamayor. He has also beat Graham Earl. That's one thing they've both got in common. And obviously, like I said, his best fight has been against Kevin Mitchell. The only thing is, he's never been able to step up to world level and beat anyone at world level. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about how I think it's going to go. Well, Ricky Burns doesn't have his greatest nights against big punchers. He's got a bit of a weak chin. He was floored in the first round against Roman Martinez, but Roman Martinez has floored most of his opponents, so that's one thing you can say about that. Michael Katsidis, we know, is a big puncher. He can hit with either hand. He's got good technique, so in fact he's probably better than the types of like Marcus Maidana, who you could like link him to. Also, Burns doesn't like using his reach and height advantage. Sometimes he gets inside and uses combinations, and he's not a huge puncher himself. He's only got a 25% KO ratio, which isn't great. But one thing to talk about is 2 of his last 4 fights have ended by knockout or TKO. Michael Katsidis, on the other hand, we do know he's a huge puncher. Like I said before, he has a 70% knockout ratio. In fact, if you look at his last 4 fights, he's knocked down every single one of those opponents. Kevin Mitchell was stopped on his feet. Juan Manuel Marquez was knocked down in round 3. Robert Guerrero was knocked down in one of the rounds, but it wasn't counted, even though it was a knockdown. The referee didn't have a great day that day. And Michael Lazada was knocked down by a shot in round 3 and never got up. Unfortunately for Ricky, it's not even as if he's fighting Bradis Prescott, and if you survive the first 3 or 4 rounds, you've got a great chance of just outboxing him over the rest. You just know that Michael Katsidis is going to keep coming at you until he gets you, and he's going to hurt you. If he gets you, he will hurt you. It's as simple as that. The only question that I've got about Katsidis is how much of the last 2 losses took out of Katsidis. They must have been a lot, because they were terrible losses. And I mean, like against Robert Guerrero, I don't think he won a round. He was totally outboxed. He just ate the jab and then the follow through right hand all night, and it didn't look great for him, because he should have been stopped, but he didn't. He kept coming forward, and he didn't look great at the end of the fight. You have to say, he was swollen up. You're thinking, what's he going to do after this? And he obviously he's got this fight. And against Marquez, he was getting counted all night long. After the knockdown, it was Juan Manuel Marquez the whole way. Just thinking about this now, this is actually a really pick-em fight, and I think probably it's going to end up with Ricky Burns by unanimous decision. I just think that Ricky Burns is going to pull the wool over everyone's eyes, maybe box at range, use his height and reach advantage. I think that Katsidis has had a bit too much taken away from him in his last few fights. Blueprint's been laid out, all you need to do is follow it. And I think it's pretty much the last hurrah for Michael Katsidis, thinking he needs to get inside, he needs to take it to the inside, he needs to land some big shots, and he can do that. Don't get it wrong, he can do that like better than anyone can really. I just don't think he's got the class to do it anymore. Okay, so what I'm going for is Ricky Burns by unanimous decision, by outboxing his opponent over the 12 round distance. Maybe stopping him later on cut, but I doubt it.